Welcome to Coffee with Viking. I am Mike. Cheers. Solomon's Prefab Temple. 1 Kings 5:5. I am planning to build a temple to honor the name of the Lord my God. Almost 500 years after leaving Egypt as slaves, the Israelites start to build their first permanent worship center. They've been worshiping in a tent that some older Bible translations call the tabernacle. David had wanted to build a temple, but God rejected the idea. David had too much blood on his hands. God wanted a man of peace to build it. So the job falls to Solomon. It's a project that takes an army of about 200,000 drafted workers 7 years to complete. Solomon recruits 30,000 loggers to cut cedar in Lebanon, 80,000 quarry workers and stone cutters, 70,000 general laborers to tote the timber and stone, and 3,600 to manage the crews. Surprisingly, it's a prefabricated building that masons pieced together on site. The stones used in the construction of the temple were finished at the quarry, so there was no sound of hammer, axe, or any other iron tool at the building site. This may be out of respect for what the Israelites know will become their holiest spot on earth, or perhaps the site is already sacred and used for sacrifices. Decades earlier, David bought a bedrock threshing floor on what some say became the temple hilltop. Then he built an altar there to the Lord and sacrificed burnt offerings and peace offerings. By today's standards, Solomon's temple is a small building, 30 yards long, 10 yards wide, and 15 yards high. About as high as a 4-story building inside where only priests are allowed. There are 3 rooms. The first one, a porch. The second one, the sanctuary, a cedar-paneled room where priests burn incense, light golden candlesticks, and set out 12 sacred loaves of bread each Sabbath, the bread representing Israel's 12 tribes in their devotion to God. In the last room, the inner sanctuary, a gold-paneled 10-yard cube where Israel keeps its holiest object, the chest that holds the 10 Commandments. Outside in the courtyard, people bring their offerings. Their priests burn the offerings on top of a 15-foot high altar. And on this side note, called Temple Trivia, there's 3 little things here. The first one, Jews considered the temple God's home away from heaven, a holy palace among his people, as Solomon put it in 1 Kings 8:13. I have built a glorious temple for you, a place where you can live forever. The second, Solomon spent nearly twice as long building his own place, 13 years for his palace, 7 years for God's temple. And the last one, the temple survived 400 years. Babylonian invaders from what is now Iraq stripped it of gold and leveled it in 586 BC. And on this side note, Israel's first temple. Solomon drops nearly 200,000 men to work 7 years building the Jerusalem temple. Once it's finished, only priests are allowed inside the sanctuary. All others stay out in the courtyard where they sacrifice animal offerings and burn them on top of a huge altar. The massive basin in the foreground holds water for the washing rituals. And right here's a picture. Stay blessed. Stay caffeinated. Much love.